All right, so we're gonna do a little more SAT prep. So this is 2.6.17, which is practice test 2, section 6, number 17. It is a grid-in question. So we are given an inventory of clocks and their frequency of chimes. So there are three types of clocks. There's clock A, of which there are 10 of them. There's clock B, which there are 5, and clock C, which there are 3. There are some clocks that chime n times on the nth hour. For instance, at 1 o'clock they would chime once, at 2 o'clock they would chime twice, at 3 o'clock they would chime 3 times, and so forth. There are certain clocks that chime only once on the hour, right? Meaning at 1 o'clock chime once, at 2 o'clock still chime once, at 3 o'clock still chime once, so that's this column. And then there are clocks that chime once on the half hour, meaning at 1:30, at 12:30, at all the 30s they chime once, okay? So these check boxes indicate which type of clocks chime when. So a merchant sells three types of clocks that chime as indicated by the checks on this table. What is the total number of chimes of the entire inventory of clocks in the 90-minute period from 7:15 to 8:45? Okay, so essentially what we need to do here is first figure out how many times each kind of clock chimes in that window, right? And then after we figure out how many times that kind of clock chimes, we would multiply by the number of those clocks. So let's start by talking about clock A, right? Okay, so type A clocks will chime n times on the hour. The only hour that's going to happen in between 7:15 and 8:45 is 8 o'clock. So that'll be 8 chimes, right? Because that'll be 8 chimes at 8 p.m. But clock A will also chime once on every half hour, right? And so on the half hours, right, which would be 7:30 and 8:30, right? So there will be 2 chimes because of 7:30 and 8:30, right? The half hours, not the hours, right? So 8 chimes at 8 o'clock, 1 chime each at 7:30 and 8:30. That means that the clock A's should have 10 chimes, right? But there are 10 of the clock A's, so if we do the 10 chimes times the 10 clocks, we should get 100 chimes from the clock A, right? Next, let's talk about clock B's. Well, clock B's, right, the clock B's that are right here, they chime n times on the hour, and that's it. So they're going to chime exactly 8 times. They're not going to chime on the half hour at all. So there's going to be 8 chimes, right? 8 chimes from the clock B's. But the clock B's, there are only 5 of them. So that's the 8 times the 5 clocks, which should be 40. So the A's contributed 100 chimes. The B's contributed 40 chimes. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the clock C's. So I lost my blue marker. There we go. So clock C, right? My clock C's. Now they chime once on the hour and also once on the half hour. So that means at 8 p.m. they're going to chime once. And on the 2 half hours, which we established were 7:30 and 8:30, that'll be 1 chime each. So that's 2. So the clock C's have 3 chimes. And there are 3 clock C's, so 3 times 3 is 9, which means that our total number of chimes should be the 100 chimes from clock A plus the 40 chimes from clock B, type B's, and the 9, so we should get a total of 149 chimes.